Hey guys, today I'm with Chris and today we're making a video based on, we get a lot of questions when we're quoting on why we're more expensive and why certain line items in quotes appear similar but are actually different in pricing. For example, you'll have two competitive quotes, one says tiling, one says tiling, one says waterproofing, one says waterproofing. And this is a bathroom that we thought to film, which is a perfect example on the difference between nutrient quality versus another competitive quote. Now, this bathroom was labeled and sold as a luxury bathroom. You know, it's not the worst bathroom we've ever seen, and it does look the part from afar. Now, some of the things I might be mentioning may be petty, but they're not. Some are petty, but some are also really serious to consider. It's just not the quality that we would produce on a job, and that comes pretty much down to the management, and it also comes down to the tradesman who's doing the job and the guy who's overlooking the job of the tradesman doing the job to making sure it's done right. Is it prepared right? Is it glued right? Is it stuck right? Is it finished right? I'm just going to roll some things off the top of my tongue, and Chris, you jump in if you...
Yeah, definitely.
One of the biggest things in this bathroom is tile setup.
Yeah.
To me, to us, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
The split tiles, both in the main floor waste and in the shower, it's not the way to go. A lot of tilers do it because they say that it's got to do with the gradient of the water falling into the drain, and that's why they split the tiles. That's a big no-no. That can be avoided with sand and cement screeding bed. If you have a really experienced tiler that knows what they're doing, you can get your gradients by the fall of the sand and cement screed. You don't need these splits. This floor could have just looked perfect.
This should have been seamless.
It would have been seamless. You wouldn't have even known there was tiles on the floor. It would have looked like a slab. Another biggie, which is actually a huge problem, more than aesthetic, is there's no water stop angle here. There's actually no water stop angle here, which is a big no-no. So there's no angle that's been waterproofed from your subsurface all the way to the top, which stops water from escaping outways into the rest of the house. So that's a huge no-no, and it's illegal, and it's going to become a water problem for this customer heading into the future. Another problem or aesthetic issue that I can see is these angles. That's not a luxury finish. There shouldn't be. There's nothing wrong with angles. They look great, but when you're billing a luxury bathroom finish, that's not a luxury finish.
It's not only there, you can also see it in the niche. I mean,
have a look at the niche.
So if you come here, you can just tell, like, it's an easier way to finish.
It's an easier way to
if
finish.
You're not willing to go the extra step.
And it looks okay if you're prepared for it, but that's not the best way of finishing. Talking about the niche onto this wall, the tile layer, I don't know if you can see, can you point your finger?
Yeah, so if you have a look here, you can see that there's one full tile here and one really small tile.
That could have been avoided. That's just the easy way out, which is a tiler plonking one tile in the corner and moving on with the rest of the bathroom. That should have been squashed at set out, and there should have been a smaller tile on the left, a middle tile, and then to even it out, the same size distance of that tile on that side.
And that goes back to management.
That goes back to management, the tradie doing it, the decision making with the client. Some people might not pick this stuff up, but to us it's...
Even to the point of color matching the silicone, like...
You beat me to it, yeah. That's another thing I was going to bring up, the silicone matching. Go on, Chris, what were you...
Like, it's very generic, it's a quick way out, like you should be focusing on matching it to the very best that you can.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that shade lighter.
Exactly. I'll come on to here. You can actually see it. It's a very big difference between the tile and the silicone color. Now you can find silicone places, suppliers that actually you can get the exact color as your grout, and then once it's applied and you're standing back, you can't even see the joint. It's it's basically seamless because it's the right color. So again, maybe you wouldn't pick it up, but it's something we would pick up. In saying that also, the paint job to the room, there's two issues that I can see with the ceiling. The paint job, I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but you can see the brush marks. It looks like it needs another coat. And moving on to this corner, I'm not sure if you can see it too well, but can you see that big gap in between the tile and the ceiling? You can see a big fat white silicone joint. That tile should have been cut and placed, pushed up, butted up to the ceiling, and there shouldn't be a, how big would you say that gap is, Chris?
Oh, it's well over between 10 to 15 mil.
10 to 15 mil. It's
like at most, like gap should be that. You shouldn't be dealing with
exactly right.
That.
And what size gap would that be?
That's between 3 to 5 mil.
3 to 5 mil versus 10 mil. 10 mil is a big gap. Hey guys, same house, different bathroom, very, very similar issues. Again, this paint job's even worse. You can actually see this one on the camera. See that big strip? Same silicone joint, same split tiles. This one we found some chipped tiles, chipped cutting of the tile. Now, I get it, everybody chips tiles. You cannot avoid chipping tiles, but you can at least buff them. So once they're chipped, you can buff them and you can install them in a way where they're hidden inside of a jam or up to a jam. Not a luxury bathroom finish. That should have been a mitered joint, which is a tile on a 45, plus another tile on a 45, and it just comes into a nice, neat, buffed corner. Same sort of thing with the fixtures. It's not a luxury bathroom. One biggie on this one, again, coming down to price difference, is shower screen. Chris, can you just demonstrate?
Yeah, definitely. So, I'm just going to try not shake this too much, but I'll go very, very wobbly.
It's very wobbly. Yeah. You've got water leaking out from the ground there, and it's not even in use.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see the water in the video.
Even to detail, if you actually have a look, you can see that I haven't used the right silicone.
That's right, because the silicone's molding up, so it's not mold resistant silicone. Now, again, I get it, water's water and a bathroom is a bathroom, and soap scum is going to build up no matter what, but there's ways of avoiding this. One of the ways that we would have avoided it is, one, moving that drain to a location where we can get a good gradient screen so that the water is hitting the tile and all active water is sliding down like a slide down to the third bathroom in the same house. Very similar things to what we were talking about in the other two bathrooms. Not much different to the other two bathrooms, all the same issues. One of the bigger issues in this bathroom was there's a crack in one of the pressure points, which you can see. And that's a bit of a 50-50, but again, it's something we wouldn't do.
Yeah.
So as you can see, they've cut the tile in an L shape. And then that's obviously a pressure point in the house, a fracture point. And when the house moves or sinks or it gets hot and cold, obviously that's caused a crack. That could have been avoided by capping the tile. So if you don't do that L-shaped piece, which we wouldn't do, we would find a different tile layout where you're capping the tile. For example, as you can see, these smaller pieces, you might continue that smaller piece all the way up and then start your brand new tile from that corner onwards. We wouldn't be cutting an L shape. I'm sure there is a lot better tile set out for here, but again, just because of the lack of thinking, this is going to cause a bit of a problem for this client. It's going to mean that tile will eventually need to be removed and replaced. How much damage are you going to make to the rest of the tiles, the waterproofing and whatnot? Do we have an angle there?
Yeah, actually, this is actually, you can't tell. They've siliconed it that much that I think that they've tried getting away with something.
Okay.
You know, between there and there, that's not a luxury finish, and you know, no one wants that in their house.
I can even see these clients don't actually use this bathroom, and you've got silicone there just pouring away.
You know, their door jambs don't even meet the floor.
Yeah.
These are things that
smaller things that other companies might be able to get away with, but not for us. We're demanding quality, perfection, for many reasons. Looks good, works good, lasts forever, and you can actually sleep at night.